Hey Sandy, it's Aaron DeChateau. Just wanted to kind of show you where you're at and show you how you can edit a few of the things on your website and kind of explain some of the choices I made and kind of give you a general status update. So basically, I worked with some of the existing text and images that you had provided me with. And if we jump over to your old site, there are a few things in terms of flow that I kind of changed. Basically, when the page loads here on the main page, we kind of have a lot of real estate kind of given to, hey, go ahead and browse my site. We know that people, when they come to a website now, know they need to browse the site, so we kind of just started throwing some of the most important points of contact at them right away. So basically things like the who, what, and why of metamorphosis right at the top of the page, and then providing them with links directly to your services as sort of the next item. So if we go back to the page that I'm currently working on, we can see now we sort of have a splash area. This is sort of like what you do, can't miss it, combined with your phone number. This is kind of making that easy to access in the philosophy that we discussed when we initially met. Here I kind of have sort of like a power quote. I just threw this in here. I'm assuming we're going to change this to kind of meet your overall branding goals. So as I go through, kind of keep in mind that a lot of this text here is pretty much just placeholder text. And you're welcome to change this, and I'm going to go over how you can do that later. But basically we've got what you are, what your company is, your phone number, a power quote that represents your core value set given by you, and then we go right into services and links to those services. So create a class, group classes, private lessons, and new puppies. These are the aspects of how you actually monetize your site, so we're putting those front and center, and you can click on these big apparent buttons to kind of go to those pages. The other thing that was buried in your old site was the testimonial information, and get back there. It was kind of, I think you had to go to training philosophy. Maybe it wasn't here. Maybe it's trainer. There we go. And then finally, the person visiting your site would have to click on the satisfaction survey, and then they're kind of given a lot of information here. So you'll notice along the lines of content in general, when it comes to your accreditations, when it comes to these stats and things like that, I think these are really powerful and really good, and kind of move them to the front page, but we don't necessarily need all of them. So I kind of just, picking 3 of the main comments, picking 3 of the main statistics, and kind of going over them front and center. So again, services that you offer, we go right into testimonials about how awesome you are. 1, 2, 3. Then we go into some of the more superfluous information, meet you, philosophy, and contact. And obviously this is all reiterated up here. And then you can see these numbers animated in here. These represent just 3 of the survey questions that you collected. Kind of a fun way to engage that information. So again, it's really sort of focusing on call to action, give me a call, these are the services we offer, proving that you're awesome, trainer, philosophy, contact, and then some more branding stuff about how great you are. And that's pretty much what I have for the homepage right now. Click on create a class here. You can see those little things animating. I basically just created this blob unit that kind of is going to be I think group classes has some more information. We'll click on that. This is sort of like the general format for classes as a whole. So we have class name, description, a little photograph to take up some space. You'll notice it's the dog every time. We can change that. And then over here we've got the core information that you would actually need to plan and register for the class, a little bit more apparent than it was before. All this information before was kind of running together, and so what I've done is kind of cleanly separated it into the viewports so that you can focus on one of these classes at a time. You can see as I scroll how that kind of works. So got private lessons, trainer. We'll hover effect there on you. And then again, on that trainer page before, we had a lot of information about all of your credentials. We can put all of those in here if you want, but I think it makes a little bit more sense to just clean that up a little bit and sort of focus on 2 paragraphs that kind of overview who you are, and then focusing on some of the more important continuing education points, because honestly, with the amount of bullet points you currently have on your site, I just don't know if people are going to read all of that or care about that. If you decide that they will and they do, then like I said, we can come in here and add everything, but this is again just kind of a placeholder for that. Philosophy. Again, also sort of cleaning up that information. I was thinking here, this is basically the same format as you had before, just cleaned up a little bit. I don't teach students to use corrections because, and then you sort of have a lot of emphasis on what you're not doing. And so if we talk about reworking this copy, maybe we could still talk about why using correctional behavior therapy is bad, but also kind of highlighting, instead of these being X's, little checkboxes about what you do instead. Again, we don't have to do that, it's just one idea. And then last to the contact form. Pretty straightforward. So now I'm going to get into management. So I'm going to actually send you an email that's going to include login information. And when you log in, you're going to see something like this. And it's going to be a little overwhelming. You're going to see a lot of stuff in front of you. Mainly in terms of what you're going to need to deal with, this Pages button is mainly what you're going to be interacting with. Basically, when I got this template, there were a lot of kind of neat widgety things that were in there for me to add, but this just started with a totally blank layout when I actually started with the template. So I've actually constructed everything from flow to the structure sort of independently. So what you have on a page-by-page basis is basically these general layouts that I've constructed, and I'm expecting you to want to change some of that text up. So if we go back to the main page, for example, and we click on Home, something you'll notice is that under Create a Class, I kind of try to succinctly deal with 2 sentences that would fit perfectly into this area. And so this is repeated here, here, and here across group classes, private lessons, and new puppies. I'm expecting that you're going to have your own language that you're going to want to use for each of these. The important thing as you go through and make edits is to make sure that this is the same length as this. And I don't know if in the video this is going to be highlighting or not, but basically, under group classes, the text is the same as that under Create a Class in terms of length. Obviously not the same words. So let's pretend we wanted to make that edit. You would log in with the information I'm going to provide you with. You would go to Pages, and then we would go to the home page, because that's what page it is, and we're going to click Edit. Now what you're going to see in terms of how I set up this for you is kind of a preview, if you will, of all of this content. So it's a what you see is what you get interface, and you can click on these things to make changes, and it's pretty straightforward. I don't think you're going to have too much trouble with it. So if we wanted to go in, for example, and let's see, edit the text under group classes, we could click on this little edit element button right here, and you'll see that a pop-up window is going to come up. You can change the icon. You can change the title, in this case it's group classes, and then we can scroll all the way down in this modal window to that text, and you can just go ahead and edit that text yourself. When you're done, you can click Save. And then this is basically the same basic idea for all of these nodes as you scroll through. And then finally, when you're done making your edits, you can either choose to preview it, which is going to launch a new window that previews those changes. That one just popped up there. Or you can click Update. When you click Update, it's going to actually commit those changes, so they will be live on the site. If you ever make a mistake, you'll notice that we have this Revisions button up here. And under Revisions, you can see I already have 33 just from sort of getting you up and running. Every time I made a major milestone in terms of design, I would update. And you can click Browse, Just give it 1 second while that loads. And you've basically got these revisions that you can go back in time by scrolling this little thing here, and you can sort of fix what you messed up. Obviously try not to mess up, but if you do and you have updated in between the time that you made that change, you can always sort of go back in time, which is a good thing to know. Let's see, so I just kind of went over the home page there. The contact form, we can go over that. Scroll down a little bit. Right here we've got the contact form, and basically these are created by dragging and dropping these layout elements, content elements, and media elements into this area. So you can see that one of the contact elements is actually the contact form, where is that? Oh, it's up here. There we go, contact form right there. Okay. So what I did is I took that and I drug it down into this area. And if I release it, it would actually get injected, and there it just sort of appeared. If you want to delete it, I can just go click this little X button and it's going to get rid of it. Now because the contact form has pre-built properties, I can click the little edit element icon. It's going to pop up another window, and right now when emails are sent to this form, they're going to go to my email address. So one of the first things you can do if you sort of want to get comfortable editing, or we can just do this in person if you don't feel comfortable yet, would be to replace this with your email address so that the contact form itself actually goes to your email. Most of the widgets are pretty intuitive like this, and the way I've set up the page allows you to really come in and kind of make changes as you want, in hopefully a pretty intuitive way. Again, the main thing is not clicking on other stuff that you really shouldn't be clicking on. And then making sure that when you do make a content edit, you click update. Anyway, this sort of gets you rolling. There's a little bit more to know, and I think we'll just go over that in person when we meet. But hopefully you're feeling good about the direction of where this is headed. Obviously, the domain robotsaladvending.com is not ultimately where we're going to be hosting this, but it was a domain I wasn't using, and I thought it would be good so I could show you stuff and allow you to make changes if you want to. And then ultimately we're going to have to migrate the new website to your current domain name. If you would like, I would be happy to host that for you. I charge $10 a month for managed hosting, which basically means it'll be on my server, and when I need to easily go in and tweak things for you, I can do that. If you want to keep it on your existing server, I think we can figure out a way to do that. I'm not too familiar with how WordPress installation goes on DreamHost, which I believe is what Oliver told me you were using. It shouldn't be that big of a deal, but anyway, it's kind of one of those things that's up to you, and we can go either direction with it. I'm going to send you off an email that describes login information like I was talking about, and I think from here you should be in a good spot to kind of feel out what's going on in the general direction. Hope you like it.